Welcome back. This is New Day on Signature Television. So today we switch gears to the discussion regarding the recurring issues of Igbo-phobia. Very recently, there's this comment made by a renowned publisher of newspaper and journalist on Arise Television, stating clearly that, quoting TOS, that Igbos don't sell their lands, and that caused a lot of proud reactions across the country, and many people even directly asking him to say where he wanted a land and he would get. Today we would talk a little more about that and how the media, sometimes push these narratives that are false, half-baked thoughts, and in a more proper perspective with Ben Etiaba, who is an opinion leader and a public person. It's good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, Ben.
Really happy to be in your studio this morning once again.
All right. Has there been any time within your lifetime that you have ever heard that Igbos don't sell lands to outsiders?
Not at all. Not in the past, not now, and not in the future, I'm sure. Every tribe will have their own ways of dealing with land and land issues. We have ours. We have our culture. We have our tradition. But nowhere am I aware of that we have sort of discriminated against anybody when it comes to the issue of land. And I'll say this to you. We take the issue of land seriously. I wouldn't want to join the bashing of the respected Ruben Abati. That's not why I'm here. But he has his comments have sparked a conversation around the issue of land in Igbo land. We revere land. We take the land issues around land as spiritual matters. The Igbos consider land as something that is held in trust for future generation. In other words, that you don't own it actually, that while you're around, you take care of the land and hand it down to the next generation. But we also have to differentiate between commercial land and ancestral land. Ancestral land, you're not expected to sell. The reason is that if you do sell those, then the next generation won't have any land to use. So those are sort of dealt that way. But commercial land that people buy and sell, nobody will refuse to sell land to you because you're a Yoruba person or Hausa person or Ijo or Ichekiri or whatever. It has never happened and will never happen. People sell land when they have to, for good reasons. I mean, some people buy, speculate, and then sell. Then you have the issue of communal land too. Communal lands, the community will decide what to do with it. And I think what he was quoting T.O.S. Benson as having encountered was the issue of communal land. The community will decide what to do with the land. And if they decide that that land is not going to be sold or held in perpetuity or held until they decide jointly what to do with it, that is their decision. They have not made that decision because they believe a Yoruba person who is married to an Igbo woman will be coming to buy, and they will not sell to him. And I say this to you. If a community decides that a particular land is not for sale, they won't sell to anybody, not even if you're from that community. So it has nothing to do with tribe. That's where he got it wrong. And that's where he quoted T.O.S. Benson, I believe, out of context. Because after all, the Mbiri people loved the man. They didn't sell it because they already would have decided what to do with that land. But to show that they were not discriminating against him and that they really were happy with him, especially the way he was taking care of their daughter, they donated land to him. And he also repaid that gesture by developing that land into a post office that is still there till today. So I don't know why he chose to say that. The only thing that I can think of is that sort of jumping quickly into conclusion because of what he had heard without thinking deeply. Usually I'll accredit Abati, who I know and I communicate with him. I'll sort of credit him with deep thoughts. But I don't think any deep thinking went into this, because if he had thought about it, he wouldn't have said what he said.
All right. you've actually put it in context, and it's quite understandable and clear. Once it's an ancestral land, it is not possible. The community says that they cannot sell this land, even if you are a member of the community. They
Yes,
will sell to you.
exactly.
But sometimes this land belong to individuals within the community. If they decide to sell the land, would it have a conflict with the
No,
community?
no, 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 no. If any piece of land belongs to individuals, it's no longer community land. It's your personal property. Okay? You can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it to anybody. I'll give you an example. I live in Independence Layout here in Enugu. And close to me is the lovely home of my good friend, Tayo Adenaike. It's Ogun State. Tayo has lived in that place, one of the best homes in Independence Layout. He bought his land and he has other properties in Enugu. Nobody said they won't sell to Tayo because it's not Igbo. And there are many stories like that. So, it's very easy to try to demean a race, a people, a tribe with sweeping general statements. That's what's unfair about what Ruben has said. And like I said, I don't want to, let me not join in bashing him. What others are doing that, and it's regrettable because, and the only thing I see actually that is done wrong, anybody can get anything wrong. Anybody can say things that they didn't think deeply about. The only place I'll fault him is that his posture post that statement, especially when the lady was trying to sort of bring up what people were saying about the way she was put down wasn't good. But let me just stop at that.
Okay, sir. I want to know, how has Igbo-phobia affected the Igbo community, the economic structure, political and social standing in Nigeria?
Okay. We've been talking about marginalization for so long, and I'm sure that Nigerians know that Igbos are actually marginalized. And what you find is that other tribes from time to time will say, hey, we are marginalized too, in order to counter what Igbos are saying and to use it to get whatever it is they want. But it's very clear that if you look at what's going on, the way the national cake is being shared, I don't think it's fair at the moment where we're running a consumption-led society. So we're relying on things being shared, and it's not being equitably shared. So it has affected the Igbos like that. But when you talk about Igbo-phobia, I think that people are scared of the Igbos. I don't know why. I just honestly don't know why. They feel, I get the sense that I feel that Igbos are too smart, and if you give them a chance, they will dominate. And this hasn't just started today. I mean, this started even before independence. Recall that at independence, the South, including the Southwest, South, Southeast, were ready for independence, but the North not. So the colonial masters thought that the only way to get this thing to work is to skew I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, the handover in such a way that the North will emerge as leading Nigeria. And that happened. Unfortunately, we had the coup, or then the counter coup, the civil war, various military interventions, and of course today back to democracy. But this thing has become entrenched in various ways. I'll give you some ways that that this has happened. Like when you talk about the geopolitical zones, the number of states in each zone. Northwest, for instance, has 7 states. The whole of the Southeast, 5 states.
5. Okay,
South. The rest, 6 states. So and when you are running, like I said, a consumption-led society, things are shared based on states, based on local governments, and these figures are skewed against you. And when the population, the census is conducted, again, we keep shouting that the numbers allocated to the Southeast are really not right. So these things work against us. That's, it's a bit unfortunate, but it happens. People, and you've seen it during elections, people's get treated the wrong way, get the wrong end of the stick. And it's all part of let's keep these people down. But also, we have to look at the other side of it. The other side of it is that it has made the Igbos to know that they are on their own, that to survive, they need to devise
Yes.
ways and means of doing so. So you find, to me, in Nigeria, that the Igbos seem better prepared to encounter and to resist and to withstand shocks in the system. So that's the other side of it. So sometimes people are trying to beat you down, but they're only showing you how to survive. So that's what's happened. Igbo-phobia, yes, it is real. Yeah.
Right, and speaking of it being real, I think it was show just recently said something like there is a calculated attempt. In fact, it's an unwritten document from other tribes to make sure that these guys don't, ascend to the presidency. I'm wondering if you feel that way.
Um, the Igbos feel that way. I can tell you that. And the agitations you see here and there, I'm talking about the genuine agitations, not these people running around killing people in the name of Biafra and all that. No, genuine agitations actually are based around what you've just said. That sense of injustice. But I'll say this to you: for as long as Nigeria is trying to hold any tribe down, I don't care if it's the Igbos being held down, the Yorubas or the Efiks or just sort of Hausa, the Fulanis or whatever. For as long as we're hell bent on holding any part of the system down, we'll never get rise up to our potential, full potential. We can only thrive when we encourage each other to grow and grow at our own pace. And you see, you can only be as strong as your weakest link. Remember this. So if you're trying to inflict own wounds, self-inflicted wounds, scoring own goals, for as long as you're doing that, you cannot achieve as a nation. And you cannot even be good at nation building if you're looking at sort of your people that way. For how long can we continue trying to become a nation instead of a country? I mean, we found independence in 1960. Okay, I am 61 now, and Nigeria attained independence at 1960. So with Nigeria 64 now. So for 64 years, we've not been able to build a nation, and we know why. Because we're trying to scheme against this tribe or out scheme the other one. And again, let's look at even our elections, our politics. You find that whenever an election is called, it just doesn't matter who's at the head, whether the leader is doing well or badly, or whether the candidates are the right ones or wrong ones. We vote according to tribes, along tribal lines. From time to time, there's a, let's not overplay this.
Okay.
Like the last election, you also found that
It happened.
yes, it happened that the youth of the country voted a particular way, but the rest is history, is what I would say. So let us stop playing the tribal game against each other. It won't serve us well.
We've been talking about Igbo-phobia, marginalization of the Igbo tribe. I want to know what efforts have the Igbo community put in order to address or counter-react this Igbo-phobia problem that we have?
If any, you don't blame the Igbos. You cannot blame the victim for being victimized. If any tribe can be said to represent what Nigeria should be, it is the Igbo tribe. It's the Igbo man that will leave the remotest part of Igbo land and go to the remotest part of the north and establish, go to the remotest part of the west and establish, south, everywhere. Okay, and wherever you find them settling, they make friends there. Okay, they contribute to the society, pay their taxes there, even in some cases, even become a part of the traditional institution there. I've seen this in the north and sort of honorary titles in the southwest. It's only the Igbo people that can do that. I mean, sometimes one or two, you get some odd experience the other way around. So it's not the Igbos are doing enough to let Nigerians integrate them into what's going on. So and I'm not saying it's not for me to come and say, oh, they should have done that or the other one or this one. What is Nigeria doing to ensure that every part of Nigeria gets and feels a sense of belonging? That should be the question the other way around.
Okay.
Quite interesting, really. one would wonder really what role that our leaders really play in all of this unity or unifying our nation, much more than just what we feel as, Igbo-phobia. How much role have our leaders played in connecting with other regions? They said that the failure of the leadership it was what gave rise to, Simon Ekpa, Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, these people wouldn't have in any way come up or even have huge followership if there was adequate leadership. Do you think so?
Yes, but not adequate leadership the way I think you're sort of trying to present it. Everything in Africa, I will say this, begins and ends with leadership. Um, Without the right leadership, nothing can work. Health cannot work. Education sector cannot work. The economy cannot be gotten right. So, social and political cohesion cannot be there. So you find that what is going on and what we're feeling in terms of agitations are all directly related to the lack of the right leadership, as we see it. But don't forget that, like I said earlier, even with the agitation, there are two types of agitators. There are those who are quite clearly saying that we're not agree, no, we can't carry on with it this way. And there are others who are latching on to that agitation to kill, to maim, to kidnap, to terrorize, to ask for funds from all over the world. So that to them that is business. That they are. So we need to differentiate between those two. And my prayer is that in not too a distant future, in fact tomorrow if possible, that we see the release of Mazin Namikan, because I'm not here to sort of that's not why I'm here to jump on a popular bandwagon and begin to say things because they sound right politically. I'm not doing that at all. But the reason why I'm lending my voice to this and saying this is that I believe it will help to dampen, lower the temperature of agitations in the southeast. You see, think about it. We've been losing one day every Monday, one day every week. Every Monday, nothing happens in the southeast. And the reason we're told is because Nnamdi Kanu is held incommunicado or without being released. Okay, you can't punish your people because something is happening to one of us. But having said that, two wrongs cannot be right. Let us pray that the young man is released so that even the issues that he's advocating and fighting for, which all of us, by the way, can feel and see, just that we want to approach these things from different perspectives in different ways. So let's see if these things can be resolved. We want a Nigeria that works. I would say that the Igbo man is the biggest beneficiary of Project Nigeria. I don't want to see balkanization of my country. I'm proud anywhere I go in the world to say I'm from Nigeria. And if you want to know, Nigeria is the most powerful black nation in the world, and I'm sure you know it. And Africans see us that way. Most Africans want to be Nigerians. Okay? So I don't know why we keep hurting ourselves, why we cannot take Nigeria from where it is now. Unfortunately, we find ourselves to where we should be. But I'm praying that we're turning the corner. I'm praying that the current leadership we have is slowly turning that corner, moving in the right direction.
Simon Ekpa was just arrested and in Finland, and the army is asking for his extradition back into Nigeria. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, it is now a judicial matter. The matter is in court, albeit not in Nigeria. The military obviously intervening, dealing with it. Unfortunately, I don't believe we have any embassy in Finland. I don't think we do have one. So it makes it more difficult diplomatically to resolve these issues. But I'll leave it in the hands of the Finnish authorities and Nigerian authorities. I'm not here to tell the government what to do. They know exactly what to do. All I can say is that we've been feeling the bad end of the stick from his pronouncements, and I don't want to say more than that.
You don't think his arrest would cause peace or would continue to deteriorate
Time
the
will tell.
peace?
Time will tell.
Okay.
Time will tell.
We are advocating for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Do you think his release would also help with dousing some of the issues that we're facing here in the Southeast?
I've said that already. I'll be repeating myself if I carry on with that. Yes, but I think so. I think so because, like you said, he has quite a huge following. And what you find now is that my people, when they want to become popular, they begin to sound like Nnamdi Kanu is their leader. Okay? And say the things that will make followers of Nnamdi Kanu fall in love with them. I'm not here to play to the gallery. I'm here to say what I believe to be right and what I think should be done. And I believe that genuinely, if that is done, that the temperature will lower in the southeast and lower in Nigeria. Insecurity anywhere in Nigeria is insecurity everywhere in Nigeria. And we must see these things like that and act accordingly.
So how much engagement do you think that we can do as Igbos with other regions? Because again, another thought is, okay, there's a fear of these people. But is this something that you could do? I think I spoke to someone earlier about it. He says that Igbo should try to de-escalate their loudness. Like they're too loud, they're too brilliant. Like, is it possible to reduce it, so that you wouldn't look like you are trying to go in there to dominate? I mean, you have the business acumen, you're the most traveled people, you are the richest, in fact. So, I mean, it is fair to say it's okay to be scared of these people.
I don't know where you get the point that we're the richest from. I don't know what.
Aren't we?
I don't know.
I mean, according to the latest ranking of the richest people on the African continent,
yes,
Igbos are actually number 2. No, number 1, in fact.
Dangote is richer. They're richer than Dangote.
I mean, if you talk about richest, you're talking about the population. Dangote is 1.
Okay. I see. As a group.
Yes.
Oh, yes. No, but that's it depends on what you're looking at. Okay, if you're thinking about individual wealth, yeah, maybe you're right. I'm not looking at I've never looked at individual wealth. Okay. I always try to see things from an integrated point of view. If you're looking at corporate wealth, of course, I believe the Southwest, we're ahead. Okay? Yes, individuals here and there. Okay, that's not bad. We're not complaining about those. But how much money does one human being need to survive and do well and even be able to help others? But if we can club together, pull together, and that is why when the Igbo man dies, his wealth dies with him. Think about the names, the rich men and women of the past, the billionaires of the 70s and 80s and 90s and early 2000s and all that, gone. Their wealth all disappeared. So I will rather want to see something that is sustainable, whereby this thing continues, whether or not the promoters of those businesses and creators of those wealths are alive or not. But there are some good examples too. If you look at Qtix PLC, we just buried Ajulu Zodike a few weeks ago in Nnewi, my hometown. And the company that he founded, Qtix PLC, cables and all that, almost a cable manufacturing company in Nigeria, a public company today, going from strength to strength. So we have a few examples of that, but I'd like to see more. That's what I'm saying.
So, in terms of political leadership for the South, are there specific ways you think that we should change our trajectory? Because most people think that Igbos play politics with emotions rather than the real things.
You're right. You're right. Yes, you're right. But then, who doesn't? I've just told you that when elections are called, people vote along tribal lines. That's politics of emotion and tribalism. But you see, but addressing there's a serious question you asked, so let me not try to belittle it. I believe that the way forward for us, for the Igbos, will be not to put all our eggs in one basket. That will never serve us well. But to diversify our portfolio, political portfolio in quotes. Okay? If you check what is going on now, we've had a regional party. At the last election, we had a popular party nationally by very quickly put together coalition of the willing. And then you have two national parties who have been there from day one. It is difficult, very, very difficult in today's Nigeria to produce a natural national leadership that will not come from one of the two top parties. It's very difficult to see that. So if we see that and act accordingly and populate those parties with the right credible candidates who will be there to serve everyone. I'm not saying put in a candidate that will come and serve the Southeast. No, I mean depending on which position you're going for. If you're going for state executive position, of course you serve your people. State House of Assembly, you serve your people. National Assembly, you're making laws for the whole country, not just your people. That's in the Senate and the House of Reps. In the presidency, you're going to serve the whole country. So we need to populate the right parties, the national parties, with credible candidates who will go there and do Nigeria proud. That's what I'm advocating. That's what the change should be. Rather than us putting all our eggs in one basket, it won't serve us well. We've tried that and it has not worked. So let's try something else.
Okay, in the angle of developing the country, how has this reoccurring issue of Igbo-phobia affected the impact of national unity and development in Nigeria?
Okay, we have a saying in Igbo land. That means that if you're holding a man down or a woman down, you're holding yourself down. You can never rise up to run or walk or do whatever you should do because you're busy holding somebody down. Okay, so how has it affected us? It has affected us in a way that we cannot move forward because we're so busy looking back and holding people down, suppressing one arm of maybe the four legs. Okay, I don't believe they say Nigeria is standing on a tripod. I don't so much see it that way because that makes quite a lot of the minorities. I say minorities advisedly because you have minorities in the north, middle belt, you have minorities in the south in Nigeria. So I can't say Nigeria is standing on a tripod. I'll say Nigeria is like a table on four legs. So if one of those legs is not there, the table cannot stand. Thank you.
One of the rep members from the Imo States actually proposed a bill which was struck out, but I think they are planning to represent the bill. It was stated that they wanted a 6-year single term for governors and president. Do you think that would in any way foster peace, unity across the nation, and would finally, at the end of the day, destroy this thing about marginalization, which almost every ethnic group is feeling? Well, at least you know that your turn is coming up in another 12 years or in another 18 years, as the case may be.
I've not given it a thought. I don't see how it can help. I don't see how it can help, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the election, what will help us is to ensure that we have credible elections, that we have the results that reflects the wishes of the people. For as long as you don't have that, it doesn't matter who you have there for 6 years, who will serve 6 years and hand over to his like mind in a different zone, who will do another 6 years and hand over to his like mind in a different zone. I mean, this merry-go-round is my time to chop. I don't see what that does to help us. What will help us is to ensure that we have free and fair elections, credible. We vote in the right person. Wonderful. If we vote in somebody we think somebody we think is right, and he ends up being wrong, we'll have to bear. That's our choice. Look at in the United States. They've just finished a grueling presidential timetable, and against the run of play, to some people, especially the ones in Africa who keep listening to CNN, watching CNN, everybody expected Kamala Harris to win. America overwhelmingly went the other way, voted for Trump. They knew what they were voting for. Okay, so once you have the person you have voted for in there, it doesn't matter whether the person is there for 6 years or 12 years or whatever, one month. So let's begin to deal with the right issue. Not is the Igbo's turn now to chop. No, it gets to the Igbo's turn that they choose your Igbo person that they'll hand over to. I mean, how does that help you?
No,
It gets to the Yoruba turn, they'll choose who to hand over. How does it help you?
It becomes problematic. In fact, if you're looking at it from that perspective, given that it means that a people, if you say we're going to go by votes, and given how deeply divided that we are, ethnically, it will mean that a certain tribe who has the largest population would continue ruling.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying. If we continue what we have now, we have an understanding that it goes north and then it comes down south. It goes north, it comes south. By the time it comes south, we may decide, oh, south or southwest or southeast. Okay, it can be one ethnic group, there all the time. And even if it comes north, which one ethnic group would it be? Is it the Fulanis? They don't. They are not in majority in the north. I hope you know that.
Yes.
You know this. So once we have, that's the point I'm making. That once we have free and fair and credible elections, both in terms of internal democracy of the parties and the main election, we'll have the right people to lead
But
the
even with
country.
the current situation, we still have that issue. I mean, it's back to the south, and the southwest, who had actually ruled at least from 1999 to 2007, is actually having its second bite.
It's not their fault. They had primaries in APC. Tinubu won the primaries. We had Igbos who contested. I mean, Wondeon was there. Ken Namani was there. Ujua Henye was there.
In spirit of fairness
In PDP, you
and
had
equity, there are a group of persons. Remember, it's not the population of people from the south that voted for him to represent the party. It was a certain group of persons. And those people were skewed. I mean, we know politics in Nigeria,
No.
so it's not really democratic.
No. Once it is the wishes and reflects the votes of the delegates, it doesn't matter who emerges. Once it is the wishes of the party and reflects the, because even if you nominate or you present a candidate that Nigerians don't like in your party through your internal democratic way, and a different party presents someone else who Nigerians will prefer, you've lost the election already. The moment you begin to have free and fair internal democracy process, then you begin to think of who do we present to Nigerians. That's the point I'm making.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been one interesting discourse with you as always, Ben Etiaba. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
very
you,
much
sir.
for having me. I'm really delighted to be here once again. Thank you.
All right, we're back shortly after this. Do stay with us.